Okay, this is session 4 of the long playtest of the Between. I am stuff today. So let's do some housekeeping, and then we'll do the recaps, and then we'll fire off beginning of session moves. I will introduce brand new threat, and we will go from there. Taking a look at housekeeping stuff, because you resolved a threat last time, you actually get one of your resources back. So I'm going to clear that for you. So you're back to 2 available resources. And I also want to take note of your conditions, please. So, Mr. Burns, what conditions do you have on your page right now?
I'm not doing well. I have bruised, unnerved, and tainted.
Mr. Wright, what about you?
Sorry, I'm still pulling up my updated sheet. So
okay, I'll come back to you.
Come back to me.
Miss White.
Bruised, unnerved, and shocked.
Okay. Awesome. Marcus?
I have shocked and unnerved. And by the way, when I went up last time, I picked up the Ghost of Hargrave House.
Good. I like that one a lot. Very cool. Awesome.
Oh, I have drained and tainted.
Awesome. I believe we're starting with the day phase, right? If I remember correctly, we wrapped a night phase and now we're doing day phase. You guys have a chance to knock some of these off. Cool. Let's do some recaps. This is a partially remembered recap. So just work through our threats. The vampire threat is resolved. The vampire in question was Joanna Wemberly. Just a quick recap of that because there are some important ongoing details. The group followed Mrs. Chang's associate to Joanna's home. On the way, they encountered Alistair Wemberly, son of Joanna. I believe Alistair was killed by Mr. Wright. Do I have that correct?
Right. No,
Yes.
Did he die?
Yeah. I stabbed him.
He was murdered. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I remember he died. The group encountered once they got to Joanna's house, they encountered a strange boy who claimed to be Joanna's grandson. The grandson was really anxious for the group to destroy Joanna. Joanna was still recovering from her gunshot wound. They did encounter Joanna. She revealed that this boy is some kind of antichrist figure and that only she has the power to contain him. They made peace. Hargrave House made peace with Joanna Wemberly, which is how this threat was resolved. Does anybody have any other additions or memories of the vampire, or any little tidbits about the vampire threat that I forgot? Awesome. We have the stolen babies threat. Mr. Burns, using magic, witnessed a scene from the past wherein some sort of fey creature stole a baby from the crib. This fey creature crawled out of a pile of dirt beneath the crib, touched the baby, changed the baby into a fey creature like himself, cut the baby's heart out, pocketed it, and disappeared into the night with the baby. That is a thing that happened. Mr. Burns deduced that the little hearts are used to help create the portals through which these fake creatures are able to enter the world. And I believe that's as far as we got with that one, right, Mr. Burns?
I did the ritual down in the ritual chamber with the heart, which is where I figured out a lot of that of like, this was a heart from a baby that was stolen long ago. They're used to open the portals between the worlds. And then after the ritual was over, I ate the heart and went wandering out into the streets high on magic.
Yeah, that's right. Remind me who you encountered when you were wandering the streets.
I encountered, I believe, the face taker child with the invitation card.
Yeah, the dapper little boy.
The guy who's like, my fear is to be poor.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's right. Oh, yeah. That character becomes more and more interesting the more these playtests I do. Good. Fantastic. Thank you. Okay, well, speaking of the face taker, we know that there is a washerwoman named Clara Yarborough. Please remind me who had the establishing question for Clara Yarborough.
Oh, that's me. Clara was Antony's maidservant.
That's right.
Yeah, that's how I know her. Antony.
Thank you. I was just making a note. Clara was found dead, her face carefully surgically removed. Mr. Wright tried to investigate her body, but was stymied by Pete, the attendant at the morgue. Pete. And then we also met the little dapper boy, right? That's what we talked about just a second ago. Mr. Burns encountered that boy who's scared of being poor. I can't remember, like, apart from just the mere fact that you all have seen this character before, like if he gave away something that indicated he worked for the face taker or not. But out of character, he does. So
yeah, it was the like new art display of strange things. Come and see it. He had the card.
Right. Did you talk about your personal beauty a lot?
Yeah.
Yeah, and he said that he wanted Mr. Burns to be like in the background or something.
Oh yeah, to be like posh color or whatever, right? For the event.
Sorry if I'm being like yada yada about it. I'm just trying to think through the 3 different times because my character always runs into that little kid.
Your character, yeah, you've done this 3 times, and your character's always the one who runs into him. That's right. That's just a coincidence, by the way. But yeah. So yeah, this little kid, we suspect might be connected to the face taker's killer in some way. I think that's as far as we got with that threat, though. And then, yeah. Let me make a note of that real quick before I forget.
And Jason, if I could ask a rules question before we get started, just so I can play to it. Did you say that my first end of session question you have rewritten?
I have not. Well, it's going to be rewritten.
Okay.
I think just play it rather than how it's written. Basically, I think the way it's going to basically be, Tyler, is along these lines, and I'll count it if you play it this way, which is if you get told to do something that you know to be wrong or bullshit, right? Like if you get told to do something that's a bad idea and you still do it, okay? That's the idea. I think that's in the same spirit as that one, but a little bit more actionable, right? So.
Oh, I also have a question.
Mm-hmm.
It's about my advance. Okay, so it's the asset because I kind of want to. I have an advancement. I want to take the infirmary as an asset, but it says that if I spend resources, all player characters heal 2 harm at the end of the current day phase. So since we're not doing harm,
yeah, it's going to be instead you just clear all your physical conditions. So.
Oh, physical conditions. Cool. Yeah. Okay. So I'm gonna take.
Yeah, it's pretty powerful. Yeah. So. Cool. Awesome. And yeah, miscellaneous details. Well, threat detail or the enemy details, really. We know out of character, we know that Admiral Ferguson, who is the enemy, Admiral Ferguson is in league in some way with the face taker because Admiral Ferguson was encouraging the young actress to get some cosmetic surgery in order to advance her career. I don't remember what the actress's name is. If somebody wrote it down, please let me know. But in any case. Okay, cool. All right, that's recap. We'll do a new threat, then we'll do night work. The move. One day, Hargrave House receives a package from a Professor Albion Bird Thistle. A fine name. You receive a package from Professor Albion Bird Thistle, and it appears to be a large, roughly 6 to 8 inches in length, a large fish fin, dried out, but very obviously like a large fin, like a dorsal fin or something, right? And the package contains a note explaining that a young man and his girlfriend, paramour, were walking along a boardwalk, enjoying an evening out near the water, when they were attacked by someone. Man was attacked. The woman was unharmed. The man survived and managed to chase the thing off that attacked him, but not before he got a handful of whatever that was that attacked him and pulled that fin off of the attacker. Albion Bird Thistle has sent this specifically to Mr. Burns. Addressed to you, Mr. Burns. Establishing question for this threat. Why does Albion Bird Thistle trust you? Well, I should say this. Why did Albion Bird Thistle tell you about this specifically? And why does he trust you enough to send you a piece of physical evidence by post? Think about that. We'll come back to it. That's new threat on the table. So we're doing a day phase, and I think we'll do a few day phase scenes and have a break. At some point, Patrick just let me know about Professor Bird Thistle. I'll remind you of the goals of the day phase. The goals of the day phase are to interrogate dramatic conflicts in order to mark those boxes and get experience points. Goal of the day phase is to frame scenes for purposes of triggering the colleague move in order to clear conditions. Goal of the day phase is to conduct daytime appropriate investigations and as well to see your characters at leisure. And again, if you're clever, you can do all of them at once. So if you frame it properly. But the framing is up to you. If anybody has an idea for a scene they'd like to frame, you might want to take a look at DCs real quick before you jump in there with it. But take a minute if you guys need it, and whoever's ready to frame a scene, just let me know.
Did you say we were going to start with night work?
Fuck yeah, we are. I forget every time. Go ahead and roll night work for me, please, Mr. Wright. Are you rolling night work, Mr. Wright?
Sorry, I need to pull up the dice roller. I keep forgetting to do it on Firefox because it doesn't work on Chrome for me. I don't know what's up with this. I apologize.
It's fine.
Just give me a second as I do the.
You're in the middle. You're in the middle of you're doing night work. It's fair. Like we'll all imagine you pumping water out of a body. So.
Oh, jeez. Anytime now. Oh,
doing
come
some
on.
back alley medical procedures.
Oh, yeah. Just using tools that have not been sanitized. Oh, okay. There we go. I got it. 6. I think that's with.
Reason.
I think it's a 7,
Mm.
if I remember my stats properly. Yeah.
Yeah, you have at least 1 in reason, so yeah.
Yeah, that's a 7.
All right.
Sick. How many resources do we have right now?
How many what?
Resources does Hargrave House have right now?
2.
Huh. Huh. Yeah, I'll get a resource.
Okay.
I guess. And then I'll also. Is there any other way of gaining resources or
Clearing threats. That's it.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So you got
yeah.
1 back for resolving the vampire threat. You only had 1 before. So.
Okay. Yeah, I'll take the resource, and then I also want to get a body part for the child.
Cool. Tell us about the body part you got your hands on and why you chose it.
Yeah. I got. Oh, what did I take before? I took lungs. From another victim of consumption. Just like before with the blood.
Interesting.
Yes.
So you want a diseased child.
Wow. Yes.
Awesome. Good. All right. Okay, back to scene framing. If someone has an idea for a scene.
I do.
Right. Who's there? What's going on?
Well, I think it's out somewhere in like a seedy part of London, near like a park or a bit of open ground area. It's like the very next morning after that storm and the Fey heart and the vampire shit and all that. And I think Ventidius, Mr. Right, he's going along the streets and he finds Theo like hungover, still sort of magic drugged out of his mind, like dirt under his nails and all up his hands. He's in a park half dressed, babbling about beautiful children and fairies, and he just sort of like sees you and collapses on you.
That's great. Sure, I catch you.
Ventidius, what are you? I need to find a way through. They bury them under the earth and they're still beating under the earth, and I need to find them so that we can get through and we can get them out. I need you to help me.
Yes. Yes. And I'm going to lower you onto a bench and then call for a handsome cab.
It's very important because they're coming and there's already a child and he had a card and there was an art gallery that I need to get ready for the art gallery because we need to stop the hearts and the children from being taken into the woods because of the mushrooms.
I'm gonna feel like for your pulse and how what is it like?
Oh, it's super fucked up all over the place. Like he got real drunk and high before he did a bunch of black magic and then ate 100-year-old fairy heart.
Yeah, so I feel it, and I take out a handkerchief and wipe my hands because I'm assuming you're just like grimy all over. And then I hand you the handkerchief as well. And I'm assuming handsome cab comes.
I think that's enough to trigger the colleague move as well if you want to,
Sure.
Theo.
That's sort of what I was going for, yeah. Where's... I found my sheets again. Yeah, so I think maybe there as he sort of collapses a bit, passes out a bit on you, especially in the hansom cab. And he's leaning against you and sort of like taking comfort from warmth and stability and someone, taking care of him.
Yeah.
So I think I'll probably clear, what were my conditions?
Unnerved, I guess. right?
Unnerved, yeah.
Yeah, I am very still and like I think it's like sitting up very straight in the handsome cab and just like unmoving, staring straight ahead until we arrive at the Hargrave house.
Nice. You get, as part of the colleague move, you get to choose something from the list there, Mr. Wright.
Okay. Let's see. Oh man, I keep opening the wrong thing. Okay. Oh, that's cool. You can unearth a dramatic conflict. Okay. Anyway,
This is
easy.
the only
I
way
don't-
to do it. Yeah.
Huh.
We could use another one of those.
Yeah, why don't we do that? We can look at the list of dramatic conflicts and see if there's anything that, because you're telling me a lot of things right now. So
Let's see.
Oh crap! I think I. Hold on a second.
You should also work towards ferreting out the truth of the matter. Now that he's all high and stuff, might as well get a dot, like a hit on that one.
Well, we can't because they're in scene framer.
yeah, that's true.
Yeah. So, so what is this? What's the nature of this dramatic conflict? I mean, you've already got one with Mr. Burns, which is, you cannot bring yourself to admit your feelings for them. Is there something else that you want to, a different thing you'd like to add here? Like, what is the new thing?
I'm looking at the ones that we have here. I guess there's some that could be applicable.
You can make them up too.
Yeah, that's true. What do you think, Theo?
I'm not sure.
I mean, there's the I feel alienated by the closeness so and so share, or someone seems haunted by their past. I will do my best to comfort them, even though they do their best to hide their troubles from me. So someone blames me for what went wrong during the last hunt, and I'm too stubborn to admit they're right. I guess that's not too applicable for us two specifically.
I think the last one is pretty good. Like, you seem
haunted by the past.
By the past. Maybe not the you do your best to hide it, but maybe not the last part of that statement. But
who is haunted by our past?
I was thinking this would be from you to Theo, right, Mr. Wright? So Theo seems haunted by their past. Mr. Wright will do their best to comfort them, I guess.
Are you haunted by your past? Didn't seem that way.
Yeah. There's certainly, like everyone, a lot of things he won't talk about. And I think maybe here in the cab, like as you're helping me get cleaned up or whatever, or maybe it's when we get back someplace, you're helping me get out of this, redress. You see him without his shirt on, and like all down his back and chest are all of these like scarred tattoos, symbols, runes, like all sorts of scars and things going down him. You're not helping. In just like really disturbing, unsettling patterns.
Do you think? Well, do you think it might work better the other way around? So that like one, because our thing is like one is from me towards you, and the other one could be from you towards me.
I could see that too. Like you're just complete coldness, unwillingness to engage in things.
And maybe no one so far has discovered the presence of the child yet. I don't know.
Maybe it's
But-
like, I like the idea of the scene being like Theo. Maybe Theo, you're aware of like the basic sort of, or maybe you're aware of like the kind of like, there's a certain like restrained tenderness that Ventidius has described like doing for you right now. And maybe it's something like, I will get Ventidius to open up to me or something like that. Or Ventidius has a softer side he doesn't show or something like that, right?
Yeah,
that could be.
I think that would be interesting too.
I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. But we could still do like I still see you shirtless, and I think my hand is like shaking as I like trace it, just, and then I pull myself back and then like help you to, I don't know, a divan or something.
Nice. We'll just wrap that scene up with Theo. You can mark the what is now number 2 on the TCs.
And can I also do Ventidius can't bring himself to admit his feelings for Mr. Burns one?
Oh, that's the one I was talking about.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
The first one's cleared, so
Oh,
the
that's
new
right.
number one
Yeah.
is
Gotcha.
yeah, the new number 1 is Marcus finds Mr. Burns' vices distasteful. All right. Cool. Yeah, someone just write that 4th one and we'll be good to go. Okay. Any other ideas for scenes?
Well, I would like to make another try at going to see Clara's body. Hopefully more successful this time.
I'm into it. We can do that. Are you taking anyone with you?
Yeah, I would like to. I think I would like to go with. Let's see. I would like to go with Albion.
Did I name someone Albion and your name is Albion, Marcus?
Yeah.
Albion
Bird Thistle.
I will change that. I will change that to Artemis Bird Thistle.
Artemis. That's so good.
I just had Albion in my brain because of your character. Fantastic.
Yeah. I expect unless you were already thinking of going in the first place, Albion.
I probably was not.
Okay. I expect like we got back and then like I thinking that maybe you took over taking care of Mr. Burns.
Mm-hmm.
And then I like put my hat back on and I say, Albion, if you would follow me.
Yeah. Of course. Where are we going, sir?
We're going to the morgue.
Oh, indeed.
And I'm like striding out the door.
Let's just cut straight to the morgue.
All right.
Yeah.
Pete's there. Working a shift. And he sees you and he says, Dr. Wright, I'm so glad you're here. I have something very, very urgent to tell you, sir.
Take off my hat.
Well, I just want to let you know that I'm very, very sorry for how the other day went. I've been thinking about it, and, well, I feel bad. I feel like perhaps I insulted your intelligence and your integrity and your dignity, and I want you to know that I've given it a lot of thought, and I apologize.
I think I'm a little taken aback. I did not expect this from Pete. I was like, my posture going into the morgue was very like battle ready question mark. And so it's like I look stunned. And I just nod stiffly.
Well, since you're here, how can I help you, Dr. Wright and companion?
I would like to see the body, provided it's still in the same state.
Yes. You mean Ms. Yarborough?
Yes.
We are just we were just getting ready to send her off for burial. You're in luck. Perhaps. Well, I have to ask Dr. Wright, what is the nature of your interest in Ms. Yarborough? Why are you so intrigued by this particular case?
It is not every day, Pete, that someone's face is taken off after they are dead.
No, I suppose it's not. You're very right about that. Well, all right. Look, since I'm making amends today, the boys will be along in about an hour. Is that enough time?
I take out the normal amount of cash for this, and I take Pete's hand and I place it in there. Thank you, Pete.
Yeah, he lets you go. Yeah, good.
Dr. Wright, you seem to have some familiarity with the people here at the morgue. I have to admit that's circles I don't normally travel in.
No. And I continue walking forward to wherever the body is.
Indeed. You pull there's like a drawer where they're kept, and you pull it out. Feet, knees, hips, hands, arms, no face. Just sort of muscle that is starting to dry out like beef jerky, and eyeballs sitting in the sockets, also splitting and dry. Tongue that is just kind of like lolling off to the side, and yellowing, moldering teeth. Their normal state, murder or not.
My word.
I pull on my gloves. Or would I? Sure. Let's say that I do have some degree of whatever. I pull on my gloves. Let's be a little sanitary. And I want to examine the corpse.
Yeah. Do you have
with,
the
like?
Oh, no, go ahead.
Sorry. I do have beneath the skin. I took it
do?
as an
Okay,
advancement
that's what I was
before.
asking. Go ahead and
Yeah.
roll the information move with reason, and you'll get to ask. I think you get bonus questions with beneath the skin, right?
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, and I think the way I'm going about it is I first look at the body and then I start like pressing gently. I got a 7.
Nice.
And like pulling. Oh, no eyelid because there's no face. But yeah, investigating more closely.
Awesome. Good.
And I'm guessing that my Ghost of Hargrave House won't help because there's not an asset involved.
There's not an asset involved. No,
Cool.
That's going to be an asset. So, great. Good. So let's talk about the information move. You get to ask one from the list as well as, I think, 2 from your beneath the skin list.
Yeah. Okay, information. Information. What here is useful or valuable to me?
You will notice along the neck and ears and throat and maybe shoulders, places where the killer might have touched Clara while removing her face. You will notice smudges, fingerprints of rouge, makeup, powder, that kind of thing.
Oh, okay. I take a bit of that and Albion, a sheet of paper, if you will.
Yeah, of course, Doctor. I'll look around and find one. Bring it back.
Thank you. And I take some of that powder and I stick it in there.
Yeah.
And like, as I take it, it's like, oh, actually, yeah, I've suddenly like seemed to realize that you are here and that I asked you to come with me. And I say, you will see here that this is from Rouge. That this is the powder that I will be taking with me.
Doctor, are you under the impression that that someone made up a corpse before removing its face?
That would be absurd.
Certainly would seem, but one hardly puts logic to the removal of a face to begin with.
That is a good question. I will think on it and let you know when I have a reply. And then, oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, that was just an ah.
And then I would like to ask my additional 2 questions. Let's see. Oh, what would an untrained eye overlook here?
Clara had sexual intercourse almost immediately before she died.
Should I also take a sample of that? Would that be useful? I'm not sure.
Well, I will tell you that it's not semen. There are other indications that she was I don't know the science behind it, but you deduce that she's had sex with someone right
Yeah,
before she died.
but
Not necessarily with a man. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Because I think that would have been the reason why I would take a sample.
Yeah. Not necessarily a man, but maybe there's something about like her vagina that makes you believe that she was penetrated.
But it doesn't seem forceful, like a rape.
Hard to tell. Yeah. I mean, there's no other like bruises or marks on her body.
So probably not then. And I think I'm going to point that to you as well, Albion.
I see.
How do you feel about this, Marcus? This quite lurid poking out.
I imagine I've had to see some pretty horrible things, but still a nude young lady being kind of probed there it's probably a little disturbing. Doctor, in your investigations, and you told me this, do we then think that this murderer would perhaps have seduced and then murdered? Are you able to say roughly the time that this would have occurred?
It's not conclusive, but that is very likely.
Oh, dear heavens.
Though I would wonder about the correlation, whether the murder was a part of the pleasure of the intercourse or whether it was simply a way to have better access to murdering the lady here.
The papers did not mention her as a lady of ill repute.
No, she's not.
You know her?
I did.
Oh, I see. I'm very sorry.
What for?
Well, I very sorry that someone you knew has had such an unfortunate thing occur.
Thank you. And also my other question is there a body part I need for the child that I can take without anyone noticing? So I still need a lot of things.
Yeah, you can choose whatever you take, and you'll be able to take it without Pete being aware that you're taking it.
Okay. I'm going to take the left hand.
Why the left hand?
Because Clara was left-handed. So she has like the muscles on her left hand or her arm in general are very defined. That is
good.
what I want. Good, yes, good tendons, like Fraser said in the chat.
Are you trying to hide it from me, or do I see?
No, I don't try to hide it from you.
Doctor, do you think this will be helpful in our investigation?
Are you like sawing it off while you're
Yeah.
asking that?
While this like rasping sound is happening in the background. Oh, so gross.
Marcus, you're taking disturbed condition.
Oh, lovely.
The aggregate of this stuff.
Will this be of assistance, Doctor?
Oh. Yes. I'll be out the bag, if you will.
Yes.
With paper lining the inside.
Of course. I'll get whatever bag is around and kind of tentatively hand it over.
Thank you.
I have to say, it's been I've encountered a great many more body parts here of late than I'm used to. Just the other day, a child's heart, and now a hand.
A child's heart.
Well, yes. Oh, I don't think with all the excitement, I haven't had a chance to speak to you of it, Doctor. A friend of mine had children disappearing from an orphanage. You may have read in papers. I went to check on it, and I discovered underneath the crib dirt, a circle of mushrooms, and child's heart. I gave it to Mr. Burns. He has certain skills. I thought perhaps he might be able to tell us more about it.
You gave it to Mr. Burns.
That feels like a cut, weirdly. I'm not sure, not sure what response is required there necessarily.
Yeah, that's good.
Good. Okay. Well, good. All right. I don't know if any DCs were hit necessarily.
No.
Like yeah.
I remembered that I should have been doing that, but I forgot.
It's okay. It's no big deal.
Maybe number 3 there at the end?
Yeah, I was trying to kind of hit that Theo is hiding something from the rest of us, but I don't know if that would have quite done it.
Yeah. I don't think none of these really came through too strong.
Yeah, I was gonna continue to hit that, but it's fine.
Yeah, it feels like a cut. All right, let's go to. We can always have that scene later, right? All right, who else has an idea for a scene to be framed? That's one for Theo and one for Dr. Wright.
You haven't done anything, Fraser. You want to go next? All right.
Yeah, I have a thing in mind. I'm just trying to also hit a DC at the same time and trying to frame it somehow. I think maybe a little bit later after Theo has returned, but is still maybe a little messed up from his evening. Maybe you're awoken when you're trying to sleep, actually, by the sounds of gunfire, gunshots in the backyard, and
just Maisie doing some meditative target practice.
Yeah, because Maisie has felt like after the stuff that happened with the vampires, she needs to reassert some control. So as you like push away your curtains with like the hint of light around it in the daytime. You see like a rudimentary target practice thing set up with like bottles and like some plywood and stuff like that. And she's there with like a West hat on, and she's like, firing away, trying to get some control back, but also, I think, trying to roust you as well to unsettle you, because if you recall, the last thing that she had learned about you was the thing in the basement, right? She had seen just like a little crack through to your your little sanctorum action. So yeah.
I think you'll be effective in getting his attention, and after a few minutes, he will sort of come, like, stumbling blindly out into the backyard, looking as slovenly and disheveled as one can in, like, silk pajamas and a fancy embroidered nightgown sort of thing.
Right. It's like the disheveled hair that looks pretty good.
Yeah.
Intentionally disheveled.
But there's the dark circles under his eyes, and he's like very much squinting at the light. What, Maisie? What's happening?
And then
Are you shooting? Did the shrubs come to life?
And then like a beer bottle to your right explodes, right?
Oh God! This is the middle of London. There are cops and me sleeping.
I think I'd like to suggest that like the Bobbies have stopped by like 3 times already.
Yeah, I've been at this a while.
Happening here, right? Yeah.
Maisie just smiles and winks at them and laughs it up.
Yeah, and she's like doing a particular pattern as if it was like a show, and keeps like there's like a bin of recycled bottles, and she sort of like stops and laughs and says, "At least this way, the bottles you put away are going to good use, are they not?"
But I put them to perfectly good use already, thank you very much. Is there somewhere I can stand that's not surrounded by bottles?
Well, why don't you come in the center with me? That way you won't be hurt.
That sounds much louder.
It is louder, but safer.
Begin, like, picking my way between shards of broken glass and exploded bottles.
And I think as she gets closer, we see you like, or as you get closer, sorry, she sort of turns back and reloads the gun, and a like mischievous grin plays out across her face. And she turns back and she says, "Why don't you take a shot?" And before you even like have a chance to answer, she like presses the gun into your hands and is going to teach you how to fire the gun, but also at the same time try to like interrogate you about what is happening in the basement. So I think she does the like, this is how you hold it, and like this is how you like prime the gun and heavy. All that kind of stuff.
Is it supposed to be this heavy? Did you make them heavier on purpose?
I unfortunately did not craft the gun. It is a 1851 Colt Navy revolver and is precisely weighted.
That's amazing. Should I be expecting to shoot many bottles in our future? Are you afraid they might start attacking us?
Well, it never hurts to make sure that you can use a weapon wisely and accurately.
Oh, Macy, my dear, I try to do nothing wisely or accurately in my life. I find it just throws off my entire rhythm.
And that I can believe, but at least you can take a shot and see if you strike your target. It's an admirable thing, right? To take a dive at something.
I explode a lawn ornament about 1.5 feet to the left of whatever bottle we're pointing at.
Yeah. And then, like, as you're getting into the rhythm, she says, "So what other proclivities do you have?"
Well, mostly the drinking and the opium and the strange powders that one finds in back alleys of London. There's also various and sundry colored liquids and some things you just sort of generally inhale and experience. It's not really a true drug per se, but a sort of perceptive sensual meditation. But would you like me to show you? It's quiet.
I'm sure it is. Although that room in the basement is quite loud in other ways. If you know what I mean.
I'm not sure I do exactly. Is it the small explosions? Is it the screams of dying chickens? Perhaps the boiling of goat's blood? Does that offend your ears? Is that a little too loud? Should I stuff a towel under the door?
I think you should tell me what it's for.
Maisie, you should know. You seem like the sort of person that would know. Life is not for telling. Life is not for learning. Life is for living. Life is for experiencing.
Well, so you're going to show me?
Well, if you insist.
Oh, that's fair. I showed you mine. Now you show me yours.
Mine isn't nearly as weighty as yours and doesn't explode so loudly.
Nothing is as a good cult.
All right. Good scene. I don't know if it quite qualified as intimate, but I do think it probably hit a DC. So
yeah, I was trying to do that and also clear.
I imagine it got like real close and handsy in there.
Oh yeah. I guess that's close enough for intimacy. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, it's Maisie's sort of intimate, I guess.
Nice.
All right, what were you trying to clear there, Maisie?
Either unnerved or shocked to like kind of take back some power in my life here.
Yeah, I think shocked is probably like a good. Yeah, you probably like that intensity of that is probably like dissipated, I guess. Sounds good. And then you also get to choose one from the list there if you wish, Mr. Burns.
Yeah, you're being nosy. I can be nosy back. This gun, you complained about the weight and about how like you didn't build it, it wasn't exactly made for you. So what is this gun to you? Why is it important? Why do you keep it?
It's hard to reveal that information, I think.
But the move says that you have to.
You have to answer while dancing around the stuff on your Janus mask. So
okay.
Meaning you can't answer. You'll answer completely and truthfully, and your completeful and truthful must avoid the Janus mask. That is the rule.
Okay.
So we're learning a different part of your history, not Janus mask history.
Okay. Oh, maybe as we're walking away, you inspect the gun more closely, and on the pommel you see an engraving, which is my father's name on it. So it's my father's coat. And he's probably got one of them white names like John, right? Like John is a good rich white guy name.
Awesome.
Nice. I like
John White.
And I think you definitely hit number 3 for the DCs. So
excellent.
You can mark one of those boxes. And Marcus, do you have a scene you'd like to frame?
I do. I'm guessing this is after Mr. Wright and I returned back, and I'm going to try and find Theo because I want to find out what happened with the heart. I almost want to game the system enough so that I could have Maisie there, but I don't know if that's appropriate since I can only get a colleague move with her, and I am hurt. But I'll...
Well, and if Mr. Burns is there, that reduces the intimacy between you and Maisie as well.
Makes sense. So I suppose I'll
And also I have the infirmary. So at the end of the day phase, like all physical conditions will be cleared anyway.
Yeah, but I'm all mentally screwed up.
Oh, okay. Well, can't help you there.
But I think then that by the time I get back, and I don't want to step on y'all in the ritual chamber to do that, so I'll come and try and find you, Mr. Burns. We can let's say probably after all of this with Maisie then, and you have gotten dressed and you're preparing for the day, the afternoon. I'll tap on your bedroom door. Mr. Burns.
It is wearying to be so politely addressed at this time of the morning. You could just come in, you know.
Well, that would be improper, but I thank you for the invitation. I'll step in. I was wondering if you've had a chance to look over the item that I gave you, the heart.
I think there's like a, there's sort of a clatter and slam from whatever he's like handling there on a table as his hand sort of shakes and he drops it down. It was rather a unique thing, wasn't it?
I hope so, but I fear that may not be the case. So many children missing.
You're a proper English gentleman, right?
Well, I like to think so.
You've been raised in the folklore, the fairy tales, the pagan stories, the little witches and sprites and brownies and creatures that live out in the woods. Yes?
Yes, I have.
It's rather hard to avoid them here in the British Isles.
You may even see like a little bit of a gray pallor come over when you say that. Do you feel that this has something to do with that? I have to admit, circles of toadstools figure rather highly in those sorts of stories.
Yes, it's what got me thinking about it originally. It's have you heard the stories of a changeling? A child from another world brought in to replace one in ours. A trade, an equal exchange, at least from their mindset. A cuckoo's egg.
I have, indeed, Mr. Burns.
Oh, this is... Or it's not there. It's not a this.
No.
But that...
This!
Yummers. The item was a ritual piece, a key, an exchange to open a doorway, the continuing of an old trade.
Okay, Marcus will step up closer to you. You're telling me you think the Fae came and stole these children?
No, not at all, my dear man. I'm telling you, I saw the Fae come and steal that child.
You saw, Mr. Burns?
Yes,
How?
It was horrible and pale and white and pointy-eared and sleek and beautiful and covered in dirt and crawling up out of impossible darkness.
How did you see this, Mr. Burns?
What? Marcus, what did you expect I was going to do if you gave me a heart that you found in dirt under a crib in an orphanage? That I would perhaps talk to it, ask it some leading questions, trying to get it to lower its defenses?
I admit, Mr. Burns, that I came because I felt you had specialized skills.
Indeed, and if you felt those skills fell under the practical, the mundane, the normal, the real-world medical sciences, you would have gone to Mr. Wright.
You're very right.
with an organ, no less. But you came to me because
Because I think you see things, Mr. Burns.
so coy. Maybe next time I'll have to take you into the dark magical rituals. Show you the supernatural right in your face. But yes, my special skills, my secret room.
I have seen disturbing things before, Mr. Burns, though I do hesitate to think you could show me far more disturbing.
I don't know if I have anything that could match the look of shock I saw on your face when you opened that linen tablecloth last spring.
The moths, Mr. Burns, the moths.
Yes, well, some of us live in a world incorruptible, mundane and banal to the end.
Well, then perhaps I should mention a little of what I saw when I found this thing. I too saw a vision. The child, the wet nurse's breast. It turned, its eyes glowing. It called my name. Something is afoot, Mr. Burns. And I intend to find out what.
Mm. The Fae calling your name in the night, that seems a wise reaction.
Yes. I think I made. Does that sound like insane?
That feels like scene. Yeah. I think it was probably scene right when you said,
Yeah.
"Tend to find out what it is." Right. Scenes are good today. You guys are really killing it in the day phase right now. Right.
Did I hit the Theo is hiding something from the rest of us?
I think you definitely hit. You definitely hit. I would say you probably hit the first one and the third one. So yeah.
Excellent. And Maisie, did you put MA in that Theo is hiding something instead of MW?
It should have been MW.
Yes. I was like, Maisie, ma.
That clears a DC then. Theo is hiding something from the rest of us. Maisie will ferret out the truth of the matter. So, because you are marking that last box, right?
I am, if I could get it to do it. Somebody's owned it, I think.
There we go. We got it for you.
There we go. Okay.
So this is cleared. Marcus, you have the most checks, so you get to mark 2 experience points, and Maisie, you get to mark 1 experience point. And each of you just take a minute out of character as players to kind of talk about this, where it stands, and where you think this story thread might be going.
And would someone be nice enough to mark that first one with an MA as well?
Sure.
I'm going to have to grab a battery for my keyboard. My keyboard just died. I'll get that at our break.
Okay, cool. Yeah, we're going to go to break here in a sec. We can come back. We'll do a break now. Let's just take 5 minutes. We'll come back. We'll do the resolve dramatic conflict move. And then if anybody else has any more scenes they want to frame for the day phase, we'll do those as well. All right.
Cool. The afternoon thunder and rain is coming.
Oh, good. Our yard wasn't growing fast enough.
Mm-hmm. And of course, the dog is all a shiver. I wanted to test out this Ghost of Hargrave house very badly, but I'm going to regret not getting my person Friday. I think that's such a cool move.
Well, we just had a discussion about how the infirmary move as written wouldn't help you fix any of your physical conditions.
Well, but perhaps the Ghost of Hargrave house could make it do so. That's true, isn't it?
Yeah, because it's the coolest move ever.
It is an interesting move. It really is neat.
What is it?
Whenever someone uses an asset, you get to say how what they're doing turns out even better than they hoped. The GM has final say on the extent of the bonus you grant, but options include, but are not limited to, getting 2 items for the cost of 1, being able to ask an additional research question, making a game tougher in some way, or a narrating advantage inside of a special room.
Ooh, that is good.
Isn't it neat? It's a very cool move, and I didn't play with it last time. But yeah, it seems super cool. So yeah, maybe if we get to see how the infirmary works, do any of us have physical wounds?
Oh, yeah, there's the chicken blood room.
Well, I mean, no wounds. Do any of us have
Oh,
conditions that are physical?
wounds.
I have bruised.
Okay,
I've drained.
gotcha.
But with Ghost of Hargrave, instead of 2 physical, maybe you could make it 1 of each.
Well, that would be neat.
Or something else that you
I think what Jason said was
out with Jason.
Yeah, because what Jason said was it'll clear all physical conditions.
That's nice.
Yeah, so
neat. Okay, well, we'll see then when that goes up and how he kind of wants that narrated out. And I'm wondering if we'll do like some sort of narration of the infirmary itself. Kind of cool.
Yeah.
I read Serious Moonlight Sunday, Todd McGrenery's adventure from Glamour, Codex Glamour. It is super cool. It is so much fun.
It was really fun.
I ran it with Spirit of 77, and it was really nifty.
What's it about?
It's David Bowie in Berlin in 1977, and he has been infected with some sort of vampire curse and is spreading the infection. And it's a mystery set to figure out what the vampire curse is. Is it really vampires? Is it the Soviets doing some sneaky experiment? Is it the CIA trying to infiltrate Berlin? It's all these various things. And you narrow it down. It's got it has the greatest phrase of all time. It has a conspiramid, which is the thing that works its way up the track of people who know stuff.
Nice.
It's a really fun setup. And Spirit of 77 is always ridiculous and amazing.
I actually just am going to get that in the next few days. I ordered it from Drive-Thru finally because Drive-Thru, I don't know what happened, but they finally made their shipping to Canada super good. It was
nice.
It used to be like $40 to ship anything from Drive-Thru. Now it's like $6.
What?
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I ordered 5 or 6 things, and it came to $26 Canadian.
Oh, nice.
Wait, so it's like flat rate?
No, it goes up per weight, but it's very good, whatever it is.
Oh, fantastic.
Oh my. That's awesome.
I love, was it David Kizia, I believe he did 77. He also did Bedlam Hall. I love how he flavors his writing. I just think it is so much fun.
Yeah. 77 could desperately use a second edition, I think. Just because there are some like layout flaws, there are some design misassumptions sort of things.
Yeah, his playbooks, you could tell it's an early attempt to, his early design. But the playbooks have some problems. Like it doesn't have any of the bond questions on the playbook. You got to go back through the book. and stuff like that. But it's a neat game, really cool game.
Yeah, the flavor to it and the spirit that comes out at the table and just living in the ridiculous world of it is so fun.
Cool. Yeah, I got that and the sword, the crown, the unspeakable power.
We got that not too long ago too.
Yeah.
The
Oh
book
my
of
gosh.
the worst cover ever.
I want to play it so much.
Oh yeah, it looks amazing. I'm super excited about it.
It's a good read. I've read the first half of it and it looks neat. I'm gonna have to put it up on the calendar eventually.
Sweet.
All right. Sorry, I'm so long getting back.
No worries.
Okay, so what was the last thing we were doing? Resolving something, weren't we?
We were resolving the DC for Theo.
That's right. So, starting with you, Marcus, or Tyler, tell me about your thoughts here.
Okay, Theo's hiding something from the rest of us. Maisie, will ferret out the truth of the matter. I do feel like that Theo is definitely opening up to several of us a bit more of his supernatural nature. I mean, definitely he just flat out told.
Kind of throwing it out there, really,
Yeah.
in a way. Yeah.
And I think that we had that scene with Agatha, with Mr. Wright, which kind of did that too. I think we've seen it a bunch. So I think rather than hiding it from us, we may not know like where it comes from, but we certainly are aware that you have these powers. Is my thoughts on it.
Maisie, what are your, or Fraser, what you're thinking?
Yeah, I'm thinking like at a meta level with my playbook. I want to know more about it, and stemming from this one, eventually I'll want to make another DC targeting like the exact origins and stuff. But yeah, it seems like there is no qualms about laying out that there's some dark things happening in Hargrave House, and so yeah, I intend to like get to the bottom of it more. But in terms of just having revealed it, I think it's definitely good that it's resolved, since it seems like it's not being secreted away or anything. Yeah.
Awesome. Does anybody else want a day phase scene before we move on to the night phase? All right.
No, but we are going to have to think about making new DCs soon because we're running them through.
Does anybody want to? Do you want to use the infirmary here at the end of the night phase, folks?
Yes.
So I think I'm trying to think all of the assets assume the existence of the Ghost of Hargrave House move, which means there should be some space for them to be to work better. And so when it was just harm, it was easy because I could just clear one harm off everyone, and then you could just the Ghost of Hargrave House can make it 2, right? That's a simple thing. I think having infirmary clear all physical conditions with just one resource is probably too powerful. It seems too powerful as I'm thinking about it. So I think but it's still quite powerful to just clear one from every character, right? So that makes a lot of sense to me. In any case, it's kind of an academic discussion because you all only have one physical thing anyway.
I was wondering, can I use Ghost to have it also do either or?
Oh, I like that. That's pretty good. Yeah, that's pretty good. So it could clear a physical or an emotional. Yeah, that's pretty good. Yeah, I like that.
Okay, cool.
Sounds good to me. So we'll just spend that resource, and everyone, you have a choice. You can clear an emotional or a physical condition. Just let me know what you clear so I can update my sheet.
I think I'm going to get rid of Unnerved.
Okay.
I'm not bruised anymore.
Same. I'm getting rid of bruised.
I cleared drained. So now I'm just tainted.
Me too.
Everyone's tainted. Awesome. That sounds great. Let's take a look at the Let's look at the overseen document. I can't remember if this is the updated one or not, because I put all your guys' stuff in a separate folder, but I can't remember if this is updated. It is. Yeah, it has one brand new one in there. Brand new overseen. We're going to be doing that one as well. It's called The Bitter End. It's at the end. And yeah. Okay, so we begin every night phase by going around the table and finding out what you each intend to do. No need to discuss it. Just say what your character is going to do. Once we've gone around the table once, everyone can have one chance to amend their action. I'm going to start with Maisie White.
So I'm trying to recall if Maisie is aware of the face taking stuff insofar as beyond just like the tabloid stuff of it.
Yeah, we assume everyone knows everything, unless you specifically kept it from the other people in Hargrave House. You know all the things you need to know.
Okay.
So, like you also know about the fish fin and all that stuff, right? So.
Okay. Maisie's definitely pissed about women's faces being taken, so she's going to go after that. How she does it will probably be latching onto someone smart who has a plan.
So be specific. Like, what do you intend to do?
I want to investigate the threat. I don't have a vector of exactly how I want to attack that.
I mean, you have the one thing you'll have access to ish, I suppose, is about this like art exhibit, right? It's going to be happening. That's a thing.
That's the thing I'd be interested in then.
That is a vector. You can go there without an invitation, right? So.
Crash it. I'm American.
Precisely. What about you, Mr. Burns?
Not sure. Let's hear what other people are doing.
What about you, Dr. Wright?
I like that I've been elevated to Dr. Wright. I suppose just Mr. Wright.
Yeah, everyone's been saying Mr., but it occurred to me you're a doctor as well. So
yeah, that's true. I am going to. I think so. My investigation of the body didn't necessarily reveal anything that I could, like any place that I could go. Right?
Not really. No.
Yeah. So then I think I'm going to this exhibit probably. I could be the chaperone for Ms. White.
Sounds interesting. Marcus Albion?
I don't think this face taker has really grabbed Marcus's attention that much yet. Even though I saw it there and all, I think he's really still very much on what's going on with Miss Good and that heart. Yeah. So I think I would like to go and try and see the upper class house where the child was taken and maybe see if I can work my way in there.
Yeah, I like that a lot. It's a great idea. And I'll also remind you of the, Mr. Burns, I'll just remind you about the fish fin thing. You will have access to the name of the young couple who was attacked by this creature, I suppose, as well as you have access to Professor Artemis Bird Thistle as well. Those are all options.
I got you. So yeah, I do think I'll try and look into that somehow. I do have an answer for the questions, which is that again, tricky stuff, past stories, but in my past, I may or may not have definitely been trying to get away from, let's say, a group of people that might start with a C or something. And I think this is one of those, like, it's not Albion. What is it now?
Artemis.
Artemis, that's it. Artemis is one of those, like, we're in Victorian times where paranormal and extra normal studies are sort of still legitimate things. You can be a professor of such things. Mm-hmm. And so I think he was sort of instrumental in getting me like information about what was going on in my life and giving me a sort of outside perspective to try and get away from it. But, you know, in the course of that, I would have had to protect him against the same things I was trying to get away from.
Why did he feel comfortable enough sending you the physical evidence? Why not just a note?
Because he knows about and believes in what I can do. Like he knew that just information wouldn't be enough, that magic, supernatural knowledge requires some physical connection.
Well, in that case, what's your line of inquiry tonight? What are you doing tonight?
I think I'm trying to look in on the couple. Is it one of them died? What happened there again?
They chased the thing off.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Tore off a piece of the fin.
And yeah, I'm trying to track them down. I'd like to hear their story from them and question them and see if I can get something further out of it.
Sounds good. So we have Ms. White and Dr. Wright going to the art exhibit they were not invited to. And Marcus, you are going to the home of the most recent baby disappearance, right? This younger couple, this upper or this sort of middle class couple. And Burns is following up with also a young couple, but not middle class, who were attacked by this, whatever it was, in the dark. Very good. Does anybody want to change their plan? All right. In that case, let's go to the overseen. The bitter end. Oh, one last thing to ask before we do that. Does anybody want to do any assets? We've already done the infirmary. Does anyone want to incorporate any of the other assets for the scene?
Have an armory if y'all are wanting to go armed anywhere. I'll be taking my umbrella.
Oh, were we also going to do a paint the scene for the infirmary at any point? Or
Oh, is that part of the infirmary's thing?
I have a paint the scene question associated with it.
We could do it next time. It's fine.
Sure. Sounds good.
We have plenty of chances to do that. You only do it once, so. Cool. Any other assets?
I think armory is probably a good idea.
Okay. All right, so everyone can take a weapon. We'll mark that. You can decide what the weapon is in the moment when you need it, or you can decide right now. And now the overseen. The bitter end. There is a brothel in Whitechapel, informally called the Bitter End, which, even by the standards of such disreputable places, is wholly wretched. A young nun, Sister Mary Edward Price. She has taken it upon herself to help the, quote, enders, stopping by once a week to provide them with counseling and light medical services. Let's join Sister Mary Edward and learn a little bit about these women. And the first one is Georgina. These are all paint scenes. Georgina, who is dying of consumption. Paint the scene. What do we see that tells us Georgina is the most popular girl at the brothel?
I think as the camera's swiveling along this place, there's a customer who asks for Georgina, and the woman who is the proprietor kind of looks him up and down and says that Georgina is quite too busy for his kind. And we know that he just looks like he doesn't have enough money, I think.
I think as the camera sort of goes down towards Georgina's room. It's not even really a room. We pass all these other girls' rooms, which are sort of like glorified closets with a bed in. But we go up the stairs and we get to Georgina's room, which is a suite, just like half of the upper story, and it's fancy and covered in silks and just beautiful decorations, but it's just so much bigger than anything else in here.
And by the window, which is closed tight because she has consumption, there is a vase of fresh lilies. And it seems like it's changed very often.
And unlike most of the whores in this house, Georgina is actually quite beautiful. Very thin, with extremely white, almost translucent skin, so that you can see every vein beneath it.
Splendid. Let's begin with Marcus. You're at the address of this young couple. They have I think they're in a. It's still a block of flats, but it's in a kind of a nicer part of town. Things are a little better kept around here, and it's nighttime. What do you do? What's your move?
Is this me or is this Theo?
Oh, I'm sorry. Was it Theo going to check on the? This is the young couple whose baby went
Oh,
missing.
okay. Mm-hmm. All right. Let's see. So well-to-do, but not extremely.
Not extravagant. Yeah. Solidly middle class. I think I think they live in a building with four apartments in it, right? So.
All right. Well, I've established a little from Marcus's past already that he was a bit of a con artist in his younger days.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm dressed smartly. So I think I will head up to the front door and pull the bell.
Yeah, and I think it's one of those things where you go into the foyer and the four entrances to the respective homes are at, so you can go and ring the one that you're there to do. And at this point, it's probably been a good week or so or longer since this baby went missing. And a young man opens the door. He is his coat is removed, but he's still wearing his white shirt and tie from whatever his job is, some kind of professional job. Loosened. And
Did I get his name? Do I have the name?
Oh, no. Let's give him names now. I didn't think of a name before. This is going to be. It's going to be Sylvia and Thomas Milner.
Milner. Okay. Mr. Milner.
Yes. Can I help you?
Yes, I'm very sorry for your loss, sir. I'm coming as a private not inquisitor. I don't know if investigator. As an adjunct to the police. I have some skills that the detectives don't normally possess. I was asked if I could drop by and perhaps, look into the sad disappearance.
Oh, yes. Well, my child has been returned to me, so we will no longer be in need of whatever services you provide, sir.
Really?
Thank you very much.
Have you informed the police of this?
Oh, no, I suppose we haven't. My wife and I are just so overcome with joy, you see.
I completely understand. If you don't mind, just so that I can report back to the police, and that way you won't have to worry about it. Would you mind if I took a little glimpse at the dike?
Did you have some sort of yeah, certainly, but do you first have some sort of identification, sir, or something?
Well, no, in my position, there isn't exactly a badge for what I do. No, I of course would not wish to intrude. I'm merely wanting to provide some assistance.
This is good. Let's do the night move. With we'll say presence. What are you trying to accomplish? Or what are you? No, I'm sorry, that's wrong. What are you afraid will happen?
I'm afraid they're going to just not let me get anywhere at all. I suppose it sounds low stakes, but I'm afraid they're just going to stymie me.
I'm afraid it's worse than that. They're going to let you in, and you never leave.
Oh, lovely. All right, then.
Do you wish to continue?
I do wish to continue.
No one ever says no. I don't know why I always ask. I suppose once you guys start running out of Janus Mask, you might refuse, right?
All right. Reroll selected. 8, 9. I think I'm going to Janus Mask, because I think the Janus Mask is the coolest thing on earth. But because I'd also like to make sure I do well on this.
Yeah, because you get the bonus too, right? Yeah. You get a 12 plus then in that case. He will you have narrative rights, but if you wish to go any further than this, you may. But basically he's going to believe your story and let you in. And as a bonus, you will get a private audience with the returned child. How nice.
How nice. I will come into their apartment. A very, very nice place, ma'am. And if you don't mind, I would love to see this child. It is an absolute miracle that... how did you recover him?
Oh, it's a very interesting story. He's this way, please. And he takes you down a hall to a door beneath the crack of which is glowing purple light. Let's cut over to Dr. Wright and Ms. White. You are going to the address on the date when this art exhibit is supposed to be taking place. This address is actually a warehouse in a pretty divey part of East London. The streets are not well lit. The hansom cab drops you off in a poorly lit street. Maybe you question the hansom cab driver, and he says, "No, this is it. This is the place." And you see this warehouse. It does have a row of glass windows on what would be like the upper floor of it, and there is some kind of candlelight or torchlight or something, lantern light going on in there. There's definitely something going on in there. But I'll just tell you, you got a weird feeling about this. This feels strange. Ms. White, what do you do?
I think I'm like fairly gussied up for this because I expected like an event or something. So first of all, I'm pissed off. And second of all, I guess I'll turn to my companion and say, is this how they do art in London?
I cannot say, Miss White.
You're not from London?
I'm offering you my elbow.
Sure. I'll slide in. But so this is unorthodox, correct?
Perhaps.
You've never gone to an art show either?
I have not.
Oh, well, maybe it's okay then. And I guess we'll proceed.
Sure. Yeah, I'm going forward.
We got
In
weapons.
this
anyway.
dimly lit alleyway.
Yeah, it's a dark alley. As you approach, a number of rather big, tough-looking men emerge from the shadows, maybe 6 in total. 3 kind of flanking you, 3 in front, 3 in back. One of them steps up to the two of you and says, he's a greasy hair, big kind of scraggly gray beard. I like the. I'm going to share this with anybody watching the video. Fraser has in the text. It's the origin story of Batman. Very good. This guy, nasty, moldering jacket, right? He opens his mouth and like a little bit of like black dribble comes out from just chewing whatever nasty roots he chews, right? And he says, you two look they're fairly lost. Where are you headed?
We're going to the art exhibit.
Oh, forgive me. The art exhibit. Yes. I could have guessed as much, finely dressed as you are. Please, perhaps we could escort you inside.
Oh. I think
I'm going to place a hand on the hand. Oh, that is like in the crook of my arm.
yeah.
Like don't fire a gun right now. Kind of placing a hand there.
I think I want a composure roll from someone.
Like if I lose the roll, I shoot him.
what do you? I think the person who seems to be concerned is Dr. Wright. So I'm gonna let Dr. Wright do the roll. Dr. Wright, I think this is going to be a night move with composure. What are you afraid will happen right now in this moment?
I'm afraid that Miss White is going to shoot at least one of them, and the other 5 are going to jump us with reason.
Yeah, I think it's worse than that. Yeah, it's definitely worse than that. Ms. White will shoot and miss, and Miss White will be dispatched by the 6 of them while you watch. Violently, in case that wasn't clear.
Also, it might be quickening. It might be a full moon.
It might be. Go ahead and roll that. Roll D6.
Okie dokie. Let's see what this imminently exciting chimp has got for me. I'll reroll this die here.
You roll plus composure, right? Or something?
Oh,
yeah, composure. Okay, I got a 12.
Oh, nice. Good. What was your moon roll?
It's like a stupid crescent moon or something.
I should probably turn this into a scale so that like you get to engage with it, because I can tell you want to engage with it. It was designed though to be like quite infrequent, but a 12 plus, you said?
Yeah, I rolled it. Oh, actually, this is weird because at first it was a 6 and a 4, and now it's a 1 and a 4. So I don't know if maybe instead I got a 7 because I have 2 in composure.
Okay, cool.
No, I think that one is one that where you re-rolled, Fraser.
Oh, did you roll the purple dice?
I rolled the second one, and it was a 6, and then I changed it to a 4. I didn't know that you were rolling those at the same time.
Oh, I already rolled. Yeah, I got so I got a 12. Okay.
Okay, that's good. So you are going to. The situation is going to be calm, and the bonus is you will be able to convince them to let you go in without them. So we can just continue that scene a little bit, and then we'll go inside. So yeah, how do you respond? How do you like? No, we got it. We're good. Thanks.
Yeah. So I put a hand on. Again, that hand on Miss White's arm. And are we in the right place?
Oh, yes, sir. Yes, very much so.
Where is the door?
Right over here, sir. We'll show you.
And I think
Excellent.
you put your hand on mine because you heard the click, right? Like the me. Yeah.
I remove my hand, and I'm also going to shrug off my jacket, and I hand it to the man that was talking to us. Thank you.
And as you begin to go, they begin to follow. Like, how do you get them to not follow you?
I assure you, we will be able to find our way inside this door.
Is there something about your carriage or your intensity that causes him to back off?
Yeah, I think it's almost like they think they find us very foolish, because I don't think they heard the click of that gun. So it's just like the fact that I'm handing him my like coat and expecting him to just be this like servant that's gonna take.
Right, yeah.
It's like these people are ridiculous. They're not dangerous. They're just like foppish, silly.
Well, you're probably you take your coat off and you're like ripped too, right? You're like,
that's true. I am.
Jacked, so.
That's true. I am. Also, maybe you do the appraising thing from the overseen on this fellow too, hey? Like you know, look at him like he's not so good.
Sure. I could also, yeah, why not? I could look him up and down in a very clinical way, like I'm studying a corpse. And then I like sniff. And I hand him my jacket.
Nice, good. And you'll go inside. We'll come back to that. I will say though, as you go inside, you hear music playing. Sounds like a string quartet as you go inside. Mr. Burns, you haven't even gotten out of Hargrave House yet. Everyone else is gone for the evening. You are, fashionably late getting started. And the ringer. Dun, 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 dun.
Sort of yell out instinctively for Marcus.
He's out.
That's perfect. Okay, I'll sort of wipe my face for my pre-partying / preparation for going out for the night. Get up, make my way over to the door. I can open my own door. Why not?
It's the boy, the dapper little boy. He's dressed in a seersucker kind of jacket and shorts and his little hat. And he clicks his heels and he says, "Good evening again, sir."
I feel like... Oh, yes, from the storm.
What a splendid house you live in, sir. It looks very, very expensive.
Remarkably so. You wouldn't even believe it.
I suspect you have plenty of servants to go with it. Strange you'd be opening your own door.
Maybe it's everyone's night off. Perhaps it's a holiday. Did you think of that? You didn't, did you?
Very, very dignified of you to allow your servants to have a night off, sir.
Oh, well, I'll let that insult slide, shall we? Sort of motioning out to the street.
I came to deliver something for you, sir.
Oh, a present. How nice.
Indeed, sir. And he holds out a box in his two hands, beautifully lacquered, carved all over.
Now, so I know the proper social etiquette responses to engage with here. Is this a gift from you, or again from your mysterious card-giving benefactor?
The latter, sir.
Ah. A shame, but I suppose there is a certain impressiveness to a curried gift, carried across the city, hand-delivered and whatnot. Should I open it here, or is it a private matter, do you think?
Sir, I would have you cease insinuating that I am a mere delivery boy. I am delivering this box to you because I am very much a near equal subordinate of my employer.
I'm dreadfully sorry. I meant nothing of the kind. I simply was disappointed. I felt we had more of a personal connection. I felt a kinship with you, boy.
He smiles.
Just disappoints me to hear that you're here on someone else's business rather than your own.
He says, "You are very clever indeed, sir. Very clever indeed. I can see how you are trying to get my goat. But I promise you, my goat is not easily got." And he presses the box into your hands and steps back off the curb or off the stoop. "I do hope we'll see you at the exhibit tonight, sir."
Oh, yes, I'm sure.
Splendid. He clicks his heels, spins on his heel, and marches down the square away.
Sort of back away and close the door and set the package down on like a interior table. Open it up.
It's the actress's face, resting, nestled in a pile of velvet.
Oh!
Overseen. Nanette, sweet-natured and petite. Paint the scene. How do we know Nanette is doing this? Because she has no other choice.
I'll start. I think that, in her little room, we can see that, it's mostly bare, just for the work at hand, so to speak. But we can see that off in a corner where she has a few personal things, we can see that she's knitting a child's like jumper, a child's dressing gown.
Nice.
I was going for something like Is it over the line to say that maybe she has like a few bruises and stuff too? Like maybe she's tried to get away before but has been prevented from doing so?
I think it's a legit answer, yeah.
When a customer comes up, John, I guess, you see her look up, and there's what is it? There's a flicker of disgust in her eyes.
I think after it's over, after he leaves, she's sort of like flat eyes smiling as he goes out and the door closes. And she just, as soon as it clicks close, like she shivers all over and she runs over to like a basin of water and begins like OCD level scrubbing herself down.
Marcus Albion. This man has led you down a hall to the nursery of his returned child. You see glowing purple light coming from beneath the crack of the door. What do you do?
I will look at this gentleman. Unusual lighting. You were telling me how your child was returned.
Yes, he just sort of, well, he just sort of walked in one day. We just found him here, you see.
How old is your child?
That's the funny thing. Really? Isn't it a very funny thing?
Yes, very funny. because I know it's a baby, right?
Yeah, it's a baby.
It was a baby. I would love to meet the chap, and I'll wait for him to open the door if he leans in and does so. If not, I'll reach over and do it myself.
He says, "Oh, I just hear my wife calling me. You go in and say hi." And he turns and leaves you there. That's going to be that. Just cut real quick for back behind the scenes. Look, one of the GM moves in the game is have an NPC leave them alone. Like
awesome.
Yeah, it's a thing the NPCs do. They do that and then they leave. Right?
I will reach down and open the door and push it open without stepping in.
You are greeted by a strange scene indeed. Large toadstools, plants, vines growing here and there, a whole goddamn tree in one corner of the room, butterflies and other small fauna, and the crib in the center.
Do I see the boy?
Not looking in the door. What do you do? I think I want a composure roll. What are you scared of right now? What are you afraid will happen?
I'm afraid of something that my Janus mask is going to reveal here in a moment. But I'm afraid if I step in, I'm going somewhere. That this is not, that I'm stepping through some sort of portal is my fear.
It's worse than that. You're not stepping into a portal at all. You're stepping into this bedroom. It's the other side that's come here. And that other side will not want witnesses running about in the streets.
All right, so roll a composure. That's a 7, 8, 9. I think I'll stick with the 9.
You'll be able to maintain your cool just fine. I am going to give you a condition, however. How does it make you feel to see this? Like, how do you feel when you see this sort of strange purple glow woodland scene? What goes through your mind?
I know it seems kind of obvious, but I mean, I'm terrified. This is really something that's hitting into Marcus in particular about it. He's really terrified.
I'm going to give you terrified. That sounds fine to me. Shocked and terrified.
And disturbed.
Oh, disturbed. I probably should be making you roll a disadvantage. We're going to cut from there.
Okay.
All right. Ms. White and Dr. Wright, you go into like the entryway is just like a little vestibule with 3 doors, and to the right is the door only one of those doors is open, and you hear this music, this string quartet playing, flowing in from that direction. It's also where the lights are. Dr. Wright, what do you do?
And what is it like? Is it really dingy inside, or like what is it?
It's a little dusty, yeah. It's kind of dark. You can't really quite see too much, right? Especially in this little vestibule. Maybe there's a little bit of lamplight and stuff where the music's coming from, but you'd have to kind of go in there and kind of look around a little bit.
Have people hung their coats here?
There's no one else there, as best you can tell.
The scene is hopping.
Miss White?
Shall we proceed, Doctor?
I take off my hat, seeing that there's nowhere to place it. A flicker of disgust. No, I'm kidding.
I mentioned there were 3 doors. One door, which is behind you now as you're facing the door that's open, where the music's coming from. That door behind you, which probably leads to some kind of office or something, based off its relative, where this little vestibule is located in the warehouse. You definitely start to hear breathing from the other side of the door. A sort of how do you feel?
I did not know that they held art exhibits in whorehouses, but Miss White, it appears that such is the case.
You both have tainted, don't you?
Nope.
I do.
Oh, you do. Since you have tainted, Mr. Wright, I would like for you to roll. I'd like for you to do a composure roll. Because I think what's happening here is like whatever this is on the other side of the door, it is kind of reaching you on a subconscious level, right? But I'd like to know though what you're afraid will happen right now.
I am afraid that this was a trap and that I will not be able to ensure Miss White's safety in leaving this place.
Yeah. I think it's worse than that, because whatever happens to Ms. White, you will participate in it.
Ugh, that is a lot worse.
Do you want to continue? Or do you want to
yeah.
just leave this art exhibit entirely?
Nope.
Roll plus composure. No, sensitivity.
Sensitivity?
Yeah.
Oh, drat.
Sensitivity, disadvantage.
Yeah. Wait, add a disadvantage?
Mm-hmm.
My sensitivity is already -1.
It's probably not going to be a great roll.
Oh my. Oh, well, I rolled a 10, so that's an 8. But I may want to Janus mask it.
I'll tell you how this. You can decide after I've narrated it, right?
Okay.
I have narrative authority, so I will tell you this is how this is going to go down. You open the door. It's dark, and oh wait, are we having a dispute about the dice here?
So disadvantage means I roll 3 dice and keep the worst 2? Is
The
that
worst
how?
two, yeah.
Oh, okay. I thought it was -1. Okay, I may have to redo this. So.
Okay, go ahead and roll.
But
it.
keep describing, and I'll.
Well, go ahead and roll it. Let's see. I want to know what the result is. So give me the clean roll here. Yeah, you guys keep each other honest. I'm not looking at the die roller. So.
It's exactly the same.
No, I think it's one less.
Oh,
so,
yeah.
So that's a 9, and then so -1 is an 8.
Okay.
Yeah, I guess it is the same. Yeah, no, you're right.
I think you open the door, and you hear a voice in the darkness that says, "You and I are very similar, you know. We both have a fascination with the human body. I do hope we will get to stand next to each other as colleagues someday." I'm going to give you the condition intrigued.
Oh. Do I want to Janus mask this? This seems pretty interesting. But I want to use my Janus masks.
It's up to you.
Well, you could still do that, but then also be intrigued by it, right?
That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I do want to. Yeah, I'll Janus mask it. Why not?
The choice is yours. You maintain your composure. The choice is yours of whether you open the door or not. I will tell you, though, as an advantage, though, that if you wish to do this door situation, if you choose to pursue that, your bonus will be you will catch whoever it is on the other side by surprise.
I'll do that then.
Yeah, like you'll kind of like have, you'll be able to.
Okay, I think I'll do the thing that like the BBC version of Sherlock Holmes would, where he like reaches over and he's like, and he suddenly just like pulls the door open.
Nice. And you see standing right there in front of you, maybe they even stumble forward a little bit, is the woman in the long white coat. She looks up and she has a wooden mask on her face with just 2 holes cut out for the eyes. And she says, "Oh, this is most embarrassing." We'll just cut there. How are you feeling upon seeing the actress's face, Mr. Burns?
So I think we sort of cut forward a couple of minutes as the door to Hargrave House like flies open again, and he comes storming out, slamming it behind him. But behind him in the open doorway, you see like a mirror that was there in the entrance hallway that's just shattered in the middle and spider webbed out, and he has like a handkerchief wrapped around his hand that's leaking fresh blood.
I'm going to give you the angry condition.
And I think...
Where are you headed? What do you do?
So I think, yeah, this like storm of fury is working up inside of him. And I think they're like, the wind whips up here out on the street, and they're like little dust devils that go down the street. But he's striding forward as his emotions just like swirl more and more out of control, and he keeps seeing these flashes in his head of that night with the actress on stage and the like red light shining down from the admiral's box seat onto her, and the sort of visions of blood. And I think as his emotions like get away from him and he goes a little unhinged, I think it might be interesting to go for a beacon in the dark as he's trying to get a cab to go to this exhibit. And I think it'd be sort of fun to have a cab scene with whatever shows up.
Oh, nice.
But
I'm into that.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, I'm way into it. Roll that move. And I think I'm going to make you roll a disadvantage, though, because of your stage.
That's what I was going to ask. So let me get one more die out there. All right. Those 3. That's sensitivity, so that's 5 plus 2 is just barely a 7. So
you just encounter it, but it won't go away necessarily.
Yeah, on a hit, you're immediately confronted by a threat or sending. I'll get to ask it 2 questions, but it would take a 10 plus for it to just immediately depart as soon as the questions are answered.
The handsome cab pulls up and says, "Sir, I've already got one passenger, but if you don't mind sharing, I'd be happy to give you a good rate."
Just meta structurally speaking, to play out the worst role, would I like Janus mask at the end of the conversation when I'm trying to leave?
I mean, I think at a certain point, I think I think like basically once this scene is done, like once I cut it, I think that's the last chance to do Janus Mask. So
That's it. I, my question comes from like I'd like to see the result of the bad roll like you normally do with Janice, but that doesn't come until like I try to leave the cab and
well, in the case of this move, you know exactly what the result is, right? Because it tells you on the 7 and 9. There's no like it's not like a
that's true.
It's not like a GM fiat thing. Like it's just the result is what the result is, right? So this is not the night move, right? So so just if you wish for it to go away immediately, then you would use the Jazz Mask. If you don't care about that, then you're fine.
I'll do the Janus Mask.
Okay.
So yeah, I'll step up into the darkened cab and sit down. So I'm like indicating to the driver, like I don't care. I need to go to this place. Start driving.
The person sitting next to you in the cab is a woman. She smells of the sea. She turns her head. Her hair is limp, her skin pale. She opens her mouth and water glugs out. And she says in a gurgly voice, I hope you're having a wonderful evening tonight, sir.
And I think
yeah.
I was just gonna say, I think like as he was getting in and in a huff, he was still like automatically being polite enough to say like, "Oh, I'm so sorry," but it just stutters off in the middle of that as, "Oh God."
Yeah, let's take a 5-minute break. We'll come back and do the remaining.
You're looking lovely today, Agatha. I love your earrings.
Thank you. Yeah, it's nice to wear earrings. I don't do it very often, but
Have you been having a nice couple of months or weeks? Sorry.
yeah, I went to Newfoundland for
That's right.
yeah, for holiday. That was super awesome. Highly recommend going there for everyone.
Weather good?
Yeah, the weather was very good, and we went at the exact right time where oh my gosh, what are those called? Foxgloves, I think, are the kind of flowers that yeah, they were all blooming, just like all just
So
randomly wherever
like
you're
drooping
driving.
downward bell shape thing.
Yeah.
I love
Um,
those.
Or like lady slippers, I think is the other name
Mhm.
for the same plant. It was so gorgeous. They were like purple and pink, and we saw whales.
Oh, awesome.
Oh wow!
Yeah, just hiking. We were going to go on a boat tour, but when one day we were hiking, we just saw it like in the waters, and we were like, okay, I guess we don't need to spend money on that boat tour.
That's super cool.
Yeah, it was really gorgeous, and the landscape is really varied there. So it's like you get a lot of different things. You get a lot of like the ocean, obviously, and it's a lot of cool like mist coming down. If you go to Cape Spear, which is the easternmost point, I think in North America, but definitely in Canada, it's like you go there and everything is covered in mist. And when we went there, it was the sun was setting, so it was like everything just had this surreal ethereal glow, and then you see them through the mist, there's like the waves like hitting the shore. It's
Nice.
really
Oh, cool.
really nice. How about you? How have you been? Oh
Everybody's back, but good.
Okay, so we only have 20 minutes left in the session. So I think what we're going to do is we'll wrap the last two parts of this night phase up next week. We're at a good cliffhanger in every scene with the face taker staring you both in the face right now, and this strange fey woodland scene, and what appears to be a waterlogged ghost woman riding in the hansom cab with Mr. Burns.
It's never a simple night of just revenge, is it?
It's really not, yeah. But we do have to do, I do want to spend the rest of the time doing your Janus Mask stuff, so why don't we do that? So who owes Janus Mask at this point?
I do, and I have kind of my idea in mind, if that's cool.
Yeah, read it to us and then narrate it.
All right. Narrate a flashback to your young adulthood before you were a servant that shows what a charmed life you lived. And I think it's going to has me, I'm in that doorway, that purple light, and I think the camera has the point of the umbrella, and we could see that silver spiked wooden bit pop out of the bottom. The camera pans up, and it's got that purple glow coming out of the doorway, and it rises up until it's shining, reflecting almost in Marcus's eyes. And you could see the fear, but you can also see like this almost recognition. And he lets out this sort of atonal whistle. And as the whistle dies off and that purple glow sort of rises, we see a hotel, a hallway, and a beautiful, wonderful hotel as a door opens to one of the rooms, and we see Marcus in semi-dress, a much younger Marcus, and very handsome, grabbing his clothes and making an escape as a young lady comes rushing out. "You're a thief! A thief! Security! Security!" And she's yelling, and Marcus is, looking that same terrified on a much younger face as he's, "No, ma'am, no, ma'am." And we see the back of a woman step towards this girl, and she's wearing, it's the 1840s at this point, so, much younger Marcus. And so she has this full dress on, and it is gorgeous and in white. And we could see her arms, even though she's from behind, we could see her arms, and they're so pale white. Her hair is also white, probably a wig, but very tall. And as she steps up to the girl, she says, "It's all right, dear. Everything's fine. It's going to be okay." And she whistles out that exact same whistle that Marcus had just done. As Marcus is standing there staring, we see that sort of purple glow rise as the camera cuts to this woman's face as the girl turns and just goes back in her room. And her perfectly alabaster face, smooth, almost like porcelain, but her eyes glowing that purple glow. Run along, boy. Run along.
Nice. Intriguing. Who else has one?
I have one.
All right, read it for us.
So, narrate a flashback to your childhood that shows the first time you encountered a dark entity. I think this is in convent, not the same sort of like underground secret torture chamber convent that we saw before, but like we see the outside of it. It's got nuns going through it, and there's an infirmary, and in the beds there in the like infirmary wing, you see two figures. One, a woman bandaged up, but just recognizable as Theo's mother that we'd seen before, but completely unconscious. And on a bed next to her is very young Theo, with like bandages wrapped around his chest. And he sort of comes awake, sits up from the bed. And there's a nun sitting there, watching over the two of them. I think she was sort of like wiping his brow. And she says, be calm, child. The accident was severe and unfortunate. We still don't know what found the two of you out in the woods. And your mother, she's not awakened yet, but you seem to have come out of it all right. There's been a wound on your chest that if you'll just lay down here, just have some water. We're just going to unwrap it and make sure that it's doing all right. And he's sort of like panting and asking questions that she shushes down as she's taking the bandage off his chest. And as she peels it away, you see these like teeth marks that have bitten into his shoulder, his chest right there, and then sort of torn as they were coming out, and they strangely hit into this like perfectly centered 5-point pentacle on his chest that's then connected by these like torn scar lines. And the nun, when she sees that, there's an intake of breath, and she smiles gently. She dabs at it with the wet cloth and says, "No, don't look so worried. It's not such a bad thing to have a scar. It's not a bad thing to have a telling mark. There are other people like you. There are other people out here in the world that have had encounters with such things." And she pulls back like her wimple, the nun hood headgear thing. She pulls it back, and as she does, it goes from like her normal face to her head. She has no hair on it. Instead, her entire scalp is sort of scarred and in places like burned looking. But right in the center of her head, as she leans down to him, is that same 5-pointed torn pinnacle scar. I think he probably starts crying.
I'm gonna start crying. Good. All right. Who else has this one?
I have one. Let me read that. Narrate a flashback to the happiest day you shared with a person you lost. Okay, so it's dark, and Ventidius and Antony are stumbling in the grass in their shorts, and like the dew is just seeping through their woolen socks, and like it's very cold. They're both shivering, and they're stumbling on these like craggly rocks, and there's like a lot of grass growing everywhere, and it's like scratching at their arms. And Ventidius asks, are we there yet? And she says, almost, we're almost there. And then you see them like climb up, and then at one point Antony like reaches out a hand, and Ventidius takes it, pulls him up, and then they arrive at a point, a high point of sorts, and this is like, it looks like the way, like the pictures of Scotland where they're like, oh, it's very foggy, and there's like a lot of jagged rocks and like bogs and things like that, and everything is damp. But once they get up to the highest point, you see the sun breaking over the horizon, and Antony points at it and says, this is what I wanted to show you. And they both stand there hand in hand, staring at the sun, and it's Ventidius turns around to look at Antony, and his face is just illuminated with the sun, and the strands of his hair just glow almost translucent. And in the background, you hear the call of a canary.
Nice. Did you have one, Maisie? Let's go to end of session questions then. Maisie, read yours, please.
Did you stick out in London society for all the wrong reasons?
Yes, you were firing a gun in the backyard.
Yeah. Did you use violence to solve a problem? Not yet.
Not yet. And no threats were solved.
Yeah.
All right, awesome. Mr. Burns.
Did you have a face-to-face encounter with a dark entity?
Yes, you did.
I try and work very hard at that one.
Yeah, a couple this session.
Yep. And did you counsel someone using your supernatural abilities as the basis for that advice? And I did finally get to relay my findings to Marcus there.
Yeah, indeed. Yeah, awesome. Mark XP. Marcus.
For overseeing, I felt like I hit it with that the white woman.
When we wrap the night phase, we'll do it next time. Yeah.
Cool. Okay.
I did note it though. Yeah.
Okay. And told me something that was kind of bullshit crazy, but I still went along with it. Is my first one, and I feel like the cutting off of that girl's hand in the morgue and
not saying anything. Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Hand me a bag. Okay, here.
It's definitely in the spirit of it. Maybe it should be rewritten like whenever one of your employers does something really fucking questionable, you say nothing, right?
And I don't think I'm sure someone got any credit for a triumph. So
yeah. Okay, cool. Awesome, Dr. Wright.
Did you shoot down an idea because it wasn't rooted in science or reason? I tried with Albion's. Like, did they paint Clara's face before?
Oh yeah.
Before moving it, and said that would be absurd.
Yeah, I'll take that.
Okay. Awesome. And then, did you secretly engage in romantic or emotional behavior at odds with your cold, logical exterior?
Yeah, in the flashback for sure.
Yeah, I think so.
And even a little bit kind of with Mr. Burns too, right? In the handsome cab.
Yes.
Awesome. Okay, well, that was the end of the session. It was really good. Great scenes today. So
that was killer stuff.
Yeah, we'll finish up the night phase, the current night phase when we get back. And yeah, I think it's going to be really good. Everything's in a real like intense moment right now, so
it's cool.
Should be good. Awesome. I don't have anything else. I'll let you guys go and stop this.